chapstick. Good afternoon, Keith.
I hope we got that. We need chapstick. Just need chapstick. Hey,
Yeah.
welcome everybody. We're here at Real Estate Now. I'm sitting in my car. Stacy is at home, and here we go for another episode.
Where are you?
Where am I? I'm halfway between Coeur d'Alene and Lewiston, Idaho, in a beautiful place called Moscow, Idaho. And it is the home of U of I. So they're right here in Moscow. And so we're on our way to a swim meet. My daughter's here with me in the car. So she gets to learn about student debt and all that good stuff too.
It's a great topic for her to learn about, for sure.
Yeah, or maybe, yeah, we'll see if she learns. She's got her earbuds in, so I don't know. But so
right,
here we go. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood, and so what's hot and fashionable in the wide world of real estate, Stacy?
Well, what's going on with rates? We can talk about that.
Right? Yeah, rates. You know, the inflation number was not happy for us at the beginning of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So we went a little bit reeling. We had a great rally all the way from December through Tuesday. Then the CPI number came out and kind of rained on our parade a little bit. But still, rates have recovered nicely from their peaks in November, when we were selling like 8% money. We're now down in the high sixes, low sevens. If you want to buy down, you can get down into the low sixes. But you know, long story short,
even some programs, we priced one this morning. We were at 6, so it's possible. Just depends.
Oh yeah.
On,
Oh yeah, totally possible to get there. You know, again, a lot of folks don't realize their number one driver is their credit score, right? Everybody thinks it's down payment. It actually is your credit score. So the better the credit, obviously, the better the rate. But if you do have a credit score that's not great, doesn't mean you can't buy a house. It's just a little higher interest rate. So,
yes.
Yep. So, yeah, so that's been going on, but the mindset of the consumer has definitely changed. And that between rates and the mindset, that things are really starting to heat up. And I know my agents in Seattle are seeing multiple offer after multiple offer already.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard like over a dozen per house. It's crazy. Fingers crossed, my house is going on the market in a couple of weeks. And I'm in this beautiful mid-century house that I absolutely adore. So yeah, I'll let you know how my experience goes with listing and selling my home in this market.
Nice. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how that goes. But yeah, multiple offers are back, especially in the Seattle market. The Coeur d'Alene market's heating back up. Things aren't sitting very long. So now's the time, my friends. Now's the time.
Yep.
So
all right. So who do we have on today?
Today, we're bringing back an old friend, and super excited to have Amanda Jackson back, and we're talking about student debt. So let's bring Amanda and our guest, Taylor Ward. There she is. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
Howdy.
Welcome.
So I'm going to give a quick shout out to Taylor. I love you to death, girl. She is one of my favorite cycle instructors at Cycle Bar, and we got talking about student debt. And she's in her business attire right now, but so it's super funny to see each other outside the studio, isn't it?
I know, hair down. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. Hair down. So Taylor and I got talking about buying houses and one of her hurdles. Maybe you want to share, Taylor?
Just with buying a house and where I'm at in life. Yeah. I feel like no one prepares you for after college. They just say to graduate college. And then you graduate and then you're ready for the next steps of life. And it just hits you all at once. And you're like, I don't know how to pay a bill. I have so much student debt. And how are people affording to buy houses? Like, I feel like that's just not talked about enough, at least on my end. I'm like, am I missing something? I don't know.
Yeah. And I think your comment to that was a throwaway. I will just never buy a house. What? No. Just got to put together a plan to make that happen. So in talking with you recently graduated, you're starting your work career, and I wanted to connect you with Amanda. And I said, hey, is it possible that we can have like a really candid conversation about student debt and what you're doing to get through that, manage it, and integrate it into your life? Because it is a part of your life.
Yeah, huge. I mean, huge part of my life. But
Yeah.
Amanda has like stepped in and completely helped me and walked me through all the steps and just completely like transformed my mindset. I feel like it was all mindset, like realizing that I can pay off student debt. It's not just going to be hanging over me. And she said, I think you quoted it. I don't know what you said exactly, but it doesn't have to be like the driving force of everything I do. So buying a home is capable for me. It's just how I can get there, what I can do to get there.
Yes. Why do you think student loan, the conversation has changed from our generation, Keith? Because I had student debt and I paid it till I was 40 and it was just something we did. So what has changed?
Amanda, back me up here. Yeah, go for it. I have a theory, but Amanda, you go ahead and take that away because I think that's more your ballpark than mine.
Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, things started to spiral out of control really back in kind of the turn of going into the 2000s. So when we had that last recession and we lost a lot of federal funding for state colleges and even state funding itself for student loans, the federal government started to just pack on, okay, we're going to start increasing the amount of funding we're going to give out for federal student loan debt. Well, when that happened, colleges, in my opinion, you can form your own opinion, but started to take advantage of that and went, okay, well, if the government's going to increase the amount of money they're going to lend to a 17 or 18-year-old semi-child, no credit check, they're basically buying a home, then why not increase tuition? They're handing over this money. And so that's what happened. If you look at the amount of student loan debt that was given out back then for the exact same degree versus the amount of student loan debt that you have to take out now for the exact same degree, and nothing's changed. If you look at what the professors are making, if you look at the cost of food, the cost of course, all of that has increased, but what the professors are making and what none of that has changed. And you're not paying for books anymore. Everything is I think, I don't know, it's been a while since I've been to college. Taylor.
That's
amazing. Is that really a thing?
I would say it's like
100%.
Yeah.
Wow, because I remember I used to spend like $3,000 a quarter on books.
Oh, I don't think I paid that much for books.
No.
I know it just depends the course and what you're taking.
It depends the courses.
I think a lot of it you can either get like a digital version, which is much cheaper because they don't have to print it. I think it just depends, but I was not spending $3,000 on books in college, and I did 6 years of school. So yeah.
Like I remember having to set aside a chunk per semester just to go into the bookstore. And, it's not like that anymore. So the fact that you have to take out so much more money now for the same degree because the government is just giving out all of these federal student loans, but then you can just 30 seconds for me to explain, it's not just the federal government that's lending the money. It's a moneymaker. If you take a look at the interest rates off of a home loan, this is 2, then 3 times that they just keep increasing the interest rates. So then you have the student loan servicers. That's a whole business. Those are privately owned corporations. And you have colleges that have shareholdings in those corporations. And then the servicers and the colleges have shareholdings in the collections agencies whenever the student defaults on the student loan debt. So it's a nightmare. There's definitely a reason why prior to COVID, there was 1 out of 3 people in collections. the system was built to fail.
And when you say 1 in 3 people in collections, 1 in 3 people with student loan debt in collections, or just in general?
Yep.
Okay.
In collections or defaulted and about to go into collections. It was 1 out of 3.
Yep. Yeah.
Prior to
Access. When they were printing money with, and Amanda, we talked about this on our last call. You know, the mortgage meltdown, the whole buildup to that was lack of underwriting, right? So when we
Absolutely.
don't underwrite income, assets, and credit, guess what? Loans start to default. And if you go out there and you give a bunch of newly minted adults a bunch of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, and they don't know what to do with it, they get out of school and then all of a sudden starting to be required to be repaid, then we get into some really interesting topics of like, well, was it prudent? Was it responsible? As far as the federal government opening up that door. So it's really interesting. But we weren't here to talk about that. I want to kind of redirect this conversation really quick because I think that there's 2 very distinct conversations. Number one, there's that one. But number 2, like, Taylor, coming back to you, when folks get out of college, what was your like repayment requirements when you started get out of college?
Well, it looked a little different because when I was graduating my first 4 years of college, so just my undergrad, I had, I think like so I pulled out private loans for just about almost all of my college time, but I think it was like a 9-month grace period just between your graduation date to when you have to start repaying it. But I think with COVID, Amanda would know better than I on this, but I think different things kept coming out and they kept pushing back. Even right now, one of my big loans is in like a grace period and we still can't even figure out why. I think that is part of like this whole thing is like the communication between the lender and the service and the school is just like, me and Amanda talked about this the other day. It's just really bad, honestly. The fact that one of my biggest student debts, like as a whole, is in a grace period right now. And I've been out of college for almost a year now, 2 years, is like weird and interesting. And it's kind of weird because do I call and say, hey, my loan is in a grace period? And like, I don't know, we don't know what to do or how, like just the communication is just lacking.
Like, would you feel better if you were able to make payments on it? I mean, can you make payments on it while it's in a grace period, or
you still can? And Amanda advised that even if it's in a grace period and you can make the payments, you should. But yeah, just with COVID, it messed up the whole timeline. So I don't know what the original timeline would be, but I would say I think out of college, it was like 9 months for mine specifically.
Nice.
And what makes it tricky for Taylor is, you know, if you don't mind me saying, you have some federal and some private loans.
Yeah.
And so that makes it tricky because if you have federal student loans, there are some things in place that can make it a little bit easier. There's data that you can pull off of the federal website that you can kind of go through and at least get a better understanding of what happened. But when it's private student loan debt, you're just kind of at the mercy of the servicers. You don't have a track record of what happened to this, and you don't really have any recourse action if they did something wrong because it's treated almost like credit card debt because it's not federally funded. It's not federally backed. So it makes it a lot trickier when there are private student loans rolled in there.
So can people file bankruptcy on the private loans?
Up until about a year ago, I had never heard of anybody ever getting their loans forgiven through bankruptcy, even private student loans. And then about a year ago, they passed some new things, and now federal and private, I'm hearing more people rolling them into bankruptcies.
Wow.
And they're successful?
I am hearing some stories of success. So
I think
Wow.
that's just hard for me to justify at like my age, though. I feel like everyone's different, but I'm in like the pivotal years. Like if I filed for bankruptcy for my student loans, I think it's what, 7, Amanda? 8 years?
I don't recommend that at all. That's not what I was asking. I just in the past,
Yeah, no.
if someone was filing for different reasons, you still couldn't include that debt. But now, if you're filing for other reasons, why wouldn't you include it if that's a thing? Like
Exactly.
Yes, 100% not recommending that.
No, no. It's just, it is crazy that it's even on the table as like a discussion. Like that's what people are resulting to is crazy to me.
Taylor mentioned something right before we started, and I was going to ask you, Amanda, because I was not quite sure, wasn't quite sure what she was talking about. But is there a way people can roll in their student debt into a home mortgage?
That's kind of up to the lender. There's always a way to, I don't want to say there's always a way, but there kind of is always a way. I have had clients I've worked with that have found ways with their lenders to roll the student loans in, but I'm not familiar with the mortgage products that they used to do that. But I do know that we have had clients that have just said, I'm done dealing with this. I would rather just take out more than what I need for the mortgage. But obviously, I don't believe they were going FHA or with, just like a normal type of mortgage.
So actually, conventional lending allows you to roll student debt into your mortgage on a refinance basis and use rate and term tables, right? So what I mean by that is if you go out there and you refinance your mortgage and you're trying to pull cash out to consolidate debt, maybe student debt, then that's a cash out refinance and you have a very low leverage point you can go to, right? They said, hey, if you're only paying off student debt, you can go up to the rate and term leverage point, right? So that allows people to tap into that equity and transfer that equity from their student debt over to their mortgage. So definitely
the trick is it's a refinance, like, so you have to already have owned a home.
Yes, you have to have already owned a home. There's no way to roll it in on the purchase.
It's like a HELOC situation. And I would, anybody who's listening or listens, I would advise just to double check if you go to do that to make sure if they're private student loans, awesome. If they're federal student loans, just be really careful because, I used to never use the term forgiveness. I'm sure Keith and Stacey, you probably remember I was like, I don't want to use the term forgiveness. And now I'm seeing all sorts of crazy stuff happening. And so if you roll your federal student loans in with your refi or anything else, or your private student loans, and you were near forgiveness or public service or something like that, your any federal benefits that you had are gone because they're no longer federal. So you just want to make sure that you don't have anything like that around the corner before you do something like that. It's just
yeah, that's great advice.
So Taylor, what changed your mindset? What magic words did Amanda say to you to change your mindset that you're like, oh yay?
That's hard to just pinpoint one thing. I think we've talked like multiple times, like hours of conversation about it, probably to make me feel better. But just being able to like ask questions and have her like just rip the Band-Aid off and be like, it's gonna take this amount of time, and showing me the numbers actually made me feel better. So I think, I don't know if anyone else's brain works this way, but if I have anxiety about something, I will put it off and I will not think about it or want to look at it. But she was like, nope, you should look at it actually, and showed me. And I was like, oh, it's not that bad. Like I can do this and this is how we're going to do it. So maybe not just a phrase, but just seeing it on paper in one sheet and I can like click through it and the whole thing. That made me feel a lot better.
Yay. Well, I think that's important. That's super important because as we were talking in studio after class the other day, you were saying, my girlfriends and I are all just struggling on what to do with this, and you guys, you're all getting together, not knowing what to do with it,
Yeah.
and I want it. When I heard that, I'm like, oh, you just need some clarity in what's going on in your world. So because let me guess, when you signed up for the loan, I'm sure they walked you through all the repayment structures and all the amortization schedules and made sure that you as the consumer knew what debt you were taking on, right?
Well, like I didn't even realize how much debt I had until, and my parents just handled everything going into college, and they're not at fault, but they're the ones who helped. Like I was 17 going to college. I didn't know like how any of that worked or how to pay for it. I just knew I wanted to go and my parents were going to make it happen for me. And I'm lucky in that way. But at the same time, it's interesting that, yeah, they don't sit the child, I guess I was 17, down at the same time to be like, this is what's happening. So,
Yeah. So I'm
And the
glad you got
college-
that clarity.
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Keith.
Oh, no, you're good.
I was going to say the colleges are so, don't worry about it in the financial aid office. We're going to have all of these programs and things set up at graduation to help you find a job and your career field that are going to take care of these. I mean, it's really a conflict of interest for them to be involved at all.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to get my check, you had to go into like an office to get the funds back in the day. And they gave me more than I needed for the semester. And I took it, and thank goodness I called my dad because it was to live on. It was like for probably like, I don't know, food and stuff. And he was like, go give him that check back. Only take what you need to pay for school. Because my parents, I was lucky too back in the day. They gave me $200 a month. And that was what I used to live on for gas and food and shampoo. Like that's just how it was back then. But yeah, the college didn't care. They were going to give me an extra couple $1,000s, which was a ton of money.
Yep, they want you to be nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe you could stay longer if you're comfortable.
Right. Yeah. No, I went to community college on the side at night. I was graduating as fast and as early as possible to stop incurring debt. But Amanda, I know you had a company. Where are you at now? Like, are you helping Taylor as a friend to Keith? Are you helping others? Is this something people should reach out to you for?
We still have the company. My husband's joined me, so I say we. He's the vice president now. But to be honest with you, there's so many clients that have been forgiven, and there's so many changes that have happened with the student loans and with the servicers that most of our work now has become pro bono, and we're trying to find a way to redefine the business and go a different route with it because yeah, I'm not really sure how to answer that question.
Yeah, well, you can't do pro bono work. You're like, you need to pay bills. So yeah. We're in mortgage. We've been pro bono for the last 2 years. It feels like
2 years.
Yeah. Well, we've been in business. I mean, this is our 10th year, and we've done, we've done a great 10 years of helping people, and hopefully this isn't the end, but it is a really crazy time right now, and they're consolidating all the services together. It looks like, I don't know if I said it to you guys last time we were on, but I said I had a feeling that the government was going to take over as one unified servicer, and that looks like it's pretty close. They don't want anybody helping anybody with this stuff. They want everybody on their own. So I don't know how much longer that we'll be able to help anybody. So other than consulting.
Right. Interesting. Keith, you have a furrowed brow as you're listening, or is he frozen?
Oh no, he might be frozen.
Oh, he is frozen.
That's a very Keith face to be
frozen. It is. It's a perfect pause for a freeze.
He was thinking hard about that. Like, what? The government's taking over? So if that happens, I'm assuming the government will have their own counseling services. Not that
they already do. It's just that you can't get a hold of anybody.
Yeah. If you call any student loan, like, for example, I was saying I have one loan that's in magical grace period all of a sudden. If you try and call, it's like, I'm not kidding, an 8 hour. I called last week and it was like 8 hours. I'm like, I don't have time to sit on the phone for 8 hours. I'm
It was an
gonna
8 hour
go to
hold?
my job to pay off the student debt. So I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I
People
don't
think
know if
I lie when I tell them that.
yeah, I don't know if that's the same for like what different providers or loan services, but that is my experience. And I have how many, Amanda? I think I have three maybe,
3.
and they're all the same. They're all like that.
Wow.
Yeah, frustrating for sure.
So Amanda, you just said a minute ago, I think you said, I want to make sure I heard what you said. So many people have had their student debt forgiven.
Yes, they've changed the rules on forgiveness. Keith, we loved your face.
Great. I don't know what happened, but my phone got really hot and it froze my whole system. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Okay.
You can go back and
No.
watch it. Yeah.
No, but yeah, they changed the rules on forgiveness, and they've made them very, very confusing. But as an example, we had a lady that needed help into a home recently, and she took out a $3,000 loan for herself back in the 90s. And then she took out over $100,000 worth of Parent Plus loans. And we helped her through the process of, what her payment would be, because she didn't, the people at the servicer, once she did get a hold of them, they told her she didn't qualify for anything we were telling her she qualified for because they didn't know. They didn't know what they were talking about. So we did end up helping her through the process, and all of the loans were forgiven.
Wow.
All.
No. So
And it's
why
she
is someone
had
like Taylor not forgiven?
because
Like, I don't know. How do you pick and choose?
because she had old student loan debt, and right now, if you consolidate loans together by April 30th, they'll take all of the months that you've been in repayment on the oldest student loan with some caveats, and they will add that to your newest student loans, even if you've only had them for a few years, and even if they're Parent Plus loans, and even if you weren't on an income-driven plan, and they'll just say you were. And
so Keith and I could go back to school right now. We'd have to sign up really fast, take out a massive loan, and then depending on how much student debt we had before, we would just pay off the new loan and we could like go to grad school for free. That's wild.
I could have done that the last 2 years.
I know.
Oh,
Like, shoot, we could have
scammed the system. It's,
man.
and the sad thing is that there's people out there that really, really do need help. And the way that I don't know who's concocting these ideas, but the people that need help are Taylor. The people that need help are not getting it. And the people that, I don't want to say people that with Parent Plus loans, yes, some of them really do need help. But a lot of these people are, married with full-time jobs, and there's money coming in. And then there's people that have had loans for maybe 5 or 10 years, and they're struggling, and can't get a job because they haven't been in the workforce long enough to have gotten all the promotions and and they're struggling, and their forgiveness is nowhere in sight. And there's, I'm talking, we've been seeing $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 balance forgivenesses all over the place. And it's a tough pill. It's a tough pill to swallow. You want to be happy for people, but when you're seeing a lot of other people struggling, it's tough.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no easy solution, right? Because you can't help everyone, yet not really fair not to if you're helping these other people, but that's
and it's our tax dollars that's paying for it. So it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And you have to explain to one person why theirs got forgiven and the other person's didn't, and it's a nightmare. So
yeah.
that's what every day is like over here right now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Even when my parents didn't even, my dad is an accountant, and he still didn't even, like, we were like, okay, we need a third party, we need help, like just someone to point us in the right direction if I can do anything about all this student debt. And like, we have like a family financial advisor, I guess is something you could call it. And we reached out to multiple people who just wouldn't help because they just didn't have enough knowledge in what's going on currently. So finding someone to even just help me in that way was hard. Like, I think if I had never brought it up to you, Keith, I would have never met Amanda, and it's just crazy. So I feel like that is like the take home. You have to talk about these awkward things because you don't know who's going through it. Maybe you can help, like, just communication. I don't know.
Oh, Taylor, the wisdom that's in that statement right there, it's not just student loans, it's life, right?
Yeah.
Someone in life is going through it. So if you talk about it, you can get connected to the people that can help you. So I'm glad we did have that conversation, and I'm glad that
in the morning.
Yeah. So it's really early in the morning. Yeah. Taylor teaches the 5:30 class, you guys. She's in studio at 5:30 a.m. And I'm like, oh man, this is early.
Amanda, though, it sounds like you could totally go the consulting route and charge people for these hours and hours of conversations. I mean, why, if Taylor's saying there's really no expert out there, you and your husband are the experts. Like, you could build quite a bit.
Yeah, it's unfortunately if you go on any of the servicer websites, Department of Education website, any of them, it says if you're charged to talk to anybody about any of this, they're a scam. Turn them in. Click the button here. Like, they want you gone.
Wow.
So, and to me, it does. Why don't they want us helping people? I don't understand. I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, we'll have to come up with a solution.
Yes. I mean, I don't think people are aware of that, right? Because they just wouldn't be, but that's not right. We need to get you on a talk show, like I don't know.
Get you on Oprah.
Yes, let's bring Oprah back.
Sometimes I do radio shows and I tell my husband, I'm like, well, if I disappear next week.
Man. Well, hey,
you'll know what happened.
Well, we'll try to, we're going to get this out. So it's live. It's out there already. So I hope you don't disappear in the next week.
No, it needs to be out there. People need to know, and people can look it up. Do it on your own. Do the research. If you have time and you have, please look it up. And if you think you qualify for something, or if you called your servicer and you're trying to, especially if you're trying to purchase a home, don't think that you can't. I can't tell you how many realtors, how many lenders I talk to, and they say, I talked to someone and they decided they didn't want to purchase a home because they're student loans. And then we talk to them and figure out there's ways to do it. So if your servicer told you or tells you that you don't qualify for something, go an extra step. GPT, it will not give you the right information, which I find very interesting. So talk to someone who knows, go on our website, do the research, whatever you need to do, and just make sure that you know. So you can find the
GPT doesn't have up-to-date information intentionally. So don't ever look for current information on any topic.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right on. Well, thank you both for joining us today. I know we were trying to get this on the calendar for a little bit, but thanks for getting to it. And Taylor, I'll see you back in Cycle Bar Studio, not this weekend, but next week. And Amanda, always great to see you.
It's great to
Yeah.
see you too.
Good luck to both of you for your careers and paying it off and all the things.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Yep. And Taylor, we'll get started on that home purchase now. Now that you know you can do it, we'll get started. Let's go.
Give me a couple of years and then yes.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm only 24, so give me some time.
I'm
Yeah.
coming to the home warming.
Yay! That'll be awesome. Well, right on. Have a great afternoon, ladies, and happy Friday. And we'll catch you next go round. And be safe.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, Stacy. There you have
I
it.
learned a lot. Like that was kind of wild.
It's super wild. It's the wild, wild west out there, and I am not envious of the ever-changing landscape that Amanda's dealing with. So, so here we go. Well, we'll catch you next time on Real Estate Now, and until next time, have a great day.
Yeah.